At 3:17 a.m., the Pacific fog was so thick it seemed to swallow sound itself. The ocean lay quiet until the radar aboard a U.S. Navy vessel screamed to life. 3 fast-moving silhouettes appeared, unlit, ghost-like, cutting through the darkness toward U.S. waters. No signals, no transponders, no identification, just speed and intent. In that single moment, silence became chaos. Commanders snapped to alert. Radios cracked alive. Orders raced across encrypted channels. Within seconds, MQ-9 Reaper drones lifted into the night, their cameras sweeping the ocean like predatory eyes. Above, MH-60 Seahawk helicopters rose from the deck of a destroyer, rotors slicing the fog. What unfolded next wasn't a war, but it looked like one. A deadly ballet of surveillance, precision, and control. Every second mattered because those 3 shadows on the radar weren't random smugglers. They were part of a $13 billion cartel network, one that had evolved from back-alley traffickers into a paramilitary empire. For years, cartels had moved quietly through jungles, deserts, and rivers. But now, they had taken to the ocean, creating a ghost corridor stretching from the Mexican coast deep into the Pacific, invisible to ordinary radar, protected by darkness, and powered by money. This was smuggling redefined. Fleets of custom-engineered speedboats, semi-submersibles, even makeshift submarines. Hidden factories in the jungles of Sinaloa built these machines, some designed by ex-military engineers who knew exactly how to vanish from sonar. Every cove became a refueling point, every bay a staging ground. And from those secret shores, the shadow navy of the cartels began to rise. Washington took notice. In response, the U.S. unleashed one of its most ambitious maritime crackdowns in decades. A coalition of Navy, Coast Guard, and Customs officers joined forces under Joint Task Force South, operating out of Key West, Florida. Their mission: track, intercept, and dismantle cartel operations across thousands of miles of open sea. They used everything: satellites, drones, AI analytics, even predictive radar modeling. Yet, despite this technological web, the cartels didn't retreat. They adapted. Each failed run became a lesson. Each captured boat became data. They were learning, fast. Then came that night. No moon, no light, just the Pacific darkness stretching endlessly. From a hidden cove along Baja's rugged coast, 4 go-fast boats erupted into the surf. They were sleek, unmarked, and dangerously fast, each one armed with encrypted radios and spotter drones circling high above. This wasn't an escape attempt. It was a test. A deliberate challenge to U.S. power. The cartel commanders wanted to be seen. They wanted to see how fast America could respond, and how far it was willing to go. Back aboard the U.S. destroyer, radar technicians stared at the screen as 3 of the 4 vessels broke formation, racing north. Their wakes drew sharp white lines across the display, knives through the sea. An order came through: do not let them cross. No casualties. Seconds later, the Seahawks found them. Their rotors pounded the fog, their sensors locked onto the tiny heat signatures below. The gunners aimed with mechanical precision, not to destroy, but to disable. Specialized rounds hissed through the night, striking 2 engines dead on. Sparks flared. Smoke rose. 2 boats spun helplessly into the current, but the third didn't stop. It veered southwest, toward international waters. A risky move, a desperate one. High above, a P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft had already acquired its target. Its AI-driven optics tracked every twitch of the vessel's wake, every flash of heat from its engines. Below, a Coast Guard cutter adjusted course, intercepting coordinates in real time through a secure satellite feed. It was flawless coordination, sea, air, and command acting as one living machine. And within minutes, the final vessel was cornered. Its crew surrendered without resistance. But what the Navy found inside would stun even the most hardened officers. When the hatch was forced open, the sailors expected cocaine, fuel, contraband. Instead, they found crates of drone frames, radar transmitters, satellite components carefully packed, meticulously labeled, and some with serial numbers filed off. These weren't the tools of drug runners. They were the building blocks of a military network. In that moment, the realization hit hard. The cartel wasn't just moving drugs anymore. It was building infrastructure, creating surveillance systems, assembling weapons, training personnel. This was no longer crime. It was war without a flag. Analysts traced the parts. Some chips were European. Others came from Asia. Each link pointed to a vast black market supply chain, a hidden alliance of financiers, engineers, and shell companies. Soon, a new term appeared in Pentagon reports: the Shadow Navy, a force without borders, operating in the gray zone between commerce and conflict, moving like ghosts beneath the surface of legality. Debate erupted in Washington. Why hadn't the Navy simply sunk the boats? Why hold back? The answer: strategy. By disabling, not destroying, the Navy proved dominance without escalation. They preserved the evidence, controlled the narrative, and denied the cartel the propaganda victory it wanted. As one defense official put it, the goal isn't to start a war, it's to prove we don't need one to win. But when investigators began decrypting the seized data drives, something darker emerged. Inside those files lay blueprints for modular drone systems, encrypted communications, and financial transactions linking accounts in Colombia, Brazil, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. The money trail told a story of global collaboration. This was not a local cartel anymore. It was a transnational military-industrial complex. The deeper analysts dug, the more terrifying it became. Blueprints for suicide drones, nearly identical to designs used in Ukraine and Syria. Code fragments lifted from military guidance systems. Evidence that cartel operatives had traveled abroad, training with mercenaries and insurgent groups to perfect drone warfare. They weren't mimicking traffickers anymore. They were mimicking armies. The Pentagon labeled it a new form of conflict, hybrid narco-warfare. And for the first time, intelligence agencies acknowledged that cartels might be evolving into proto-state actors, entities with territory, weapons and command hierarchies rivaling small nations. From that realization, a new U.S. initiative was born, Operation Maritime Shield. Its nerve center lay deep beneath layers of reinforced steel and encrypted networks. Inside, screens filled an entire wall, satellite feeds, sonar pings, radar grids, all pulsing with data. Every dot on the display represented a decision: pursue or ignore, intercept or wait. Here, the ocean wasn't chaos. It was a chessboard. At its heart were the XP-4 unmanned sea drones, AI-powered, solar-assisted, and capable of patrolling for 48 hours non-stop. They became the sentinels of the Pacific. Each one scanned for anomalies: heat plumes, wake patterns, radar ghosts invisible to human eyes. And when they found something, they didn't just report it. They analyzed it. They learned a small blip on the radar, a pattern in wave interference, an engine frequency mismatch. Within seconds, the system flagged it, tracked it, and transmitted firing solutions to human operators. A single order: disable. Do not destroy. A targeting reticle locked. A round fired. 0.7 seconds later, the engine of a smuggler's boat went silent. The vessel drifted powerless into custody. This was the new face of power. Precision without chaos. Dominance without destruction. One admiral described it as a digital symphony at sea. Every drone, satellite, and ship working in harmony, a choreography of control. But behind that elegance lay a staggering cost: $8 million per day. Still, the Pentagon justified it. The price of action is high, one report stated, but the cost of inaction is incalculable. And then came the night that tested everything. Off the coast of California, radar screens lit up like fireworks. A fleet of high-speed cartel boats, dozens this time, charging straight toward U.S. waters. No evasion, no subtlety. A direct confrontation. Drones scrambled. Warships shifted formation. Helicopters rose into the sky as satellites adjusted their gaze from orbit. What followed was a 90-minute pursuit that blurred the line between policing and warfare. The sea became alive with light, search beams, tracer fire, and the echoing thunder of engines. But this time, the cartel boats weren't just carrying narcotics. They were transmitting encrypted data packets, live tests of signal interference, probing U.S. communication frequencies. They were studying us. When the last engine sputtered out and the sun began to rise, America had won the chase. But something had changed. Analysts reviewing the data realized that the cartel had achieved exactly what it wanted. It had tested the Navy's response time, radar range, and strike protocols. Every movement was recorded. Every weakness noted. It wasn't just a smuggling mission. It was a reconnaissance operation. The game had evolved again. No longer about drugs. Not even about money. This was a technological arms race. A duel between organized crime and the modern military. The cartels used billions to buy stealth, encryption, and speed. America countered with billions in AI, data, and precision control. And in this new era, victory doesn't go to who moves faster. It goes to who learns faster. As one Pentagon analyst warned, we're not fighting cartels anymore. We're fighting organizations that think like nations. The oceans have become the new frontier of invisible warfare, where smugglers act like soldiers and nations act like shadows. Every clash, every interception, every encrypted signal is a reminder that the old world of borders and flags is fading.